we've run a very successful EUS program in ASC. With the biggest drawback, though, and the reason people want to adopt it is the investment into the acquisition of the equipment. A standalone EUS system, you can buy the basic system from Olympus, Fuji, etc., and you can probably spend $100,000 to $150,000 on it. But the image quality isn't what most of us would find acceptable or comfortable with. When your hospital is giving you the cream of the crop, and then you're in your ASC using the cheapest system, you, as a physician, you probably have a little bit of an issue with that. So, the rate limiting step of growing EUS outside the hospital, outside the ivory towers, so to speak, has been the cost. And I think Endosound has basically provided a mechanism for people who want to do EUS to have excellent quality imaging, but also have a reasonable well practice. Like you can do it. But the context of why I wanted to do this is I am a strong believer in doing endoscopic ultrasound in the ASC. I'm also a strong believer in bringing as much low to minimal risk to what we're currently using and what is the business model that I can follow. And then there's also the just natural curiosity I have in using new devices. So a little bit about that. The quality of the imaging was actually really good. I was pleasantly surprised by it. And I'm sorry if I didn't say this earlier, but this podcast is not sponsored by Endosound in any way, shape, or form. I've not received any consulting fees. I don't have any disclosures regarding to working with them or anything like that. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible, and I will obviously share the positives, and I'll share some improvement areas that they could have. But in terms of quality of imaging, the image quality was very similar to our system that we have, which is a Fuji system. It's not the latest Fuji Hitachi system. It's the one before that. But very similar, very good image quality. And the ease of setup was pretty straightforward. From our perspective, we have a lot of endotechs who are well-trained in the US. Some of them have been working with us for almost 8 years now, 9 years, and they can set up the EUS and do everything really well. And reality is that they don't like change, So I was a little bit nervous that we brought this device in as a trial, that I would start to get a lot of complaints about like, hey, it's Sachdev, this is too hard. I don't want to do this. I don't like changing what I'm doing. Actually, they didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. So the system comes in, we use the diagnostic system. And for us, that was pretty easy to use. It's just basically a disposable transducer, which can get several uses out of it. And then there are these bands, and those are what apply or hold the system to the scope. So it actually sits outside a gastroscope. It's not something like, it's not a disposable scope in itself. It's an attachment that goes on to your existing gastroscope, and it's agnostic. So it can be Pentax Fuji or Olympus. It can be 180, 190. And one of the biggest advantages to that is the ability to do an EGD was great. It doesn't take up your biopsy ports, so you could actually do a biopsy for H. pylori, for example, or for celiac disease if you need to, while you're doing the EUS to look at a lump, bump, or pancreatic. For us, when our current system fails 5-10 years down the road, this is something I would absolutely look at and definitely consider. It doesn't require much training if you know how to do EUS. It's just a matter of looking at their little cart and